Hi everyone, welcome to Shortcuts Stock 101. My name's Kelly and I'll be guiding you through all the stock basics to help get you up and running in your business with ordering, stock taking, receiving your stock and just managing your stock in general within Shortcuts. So I'll start with just going through what we'll be covering. So the learning outcomes for today will be setting up your stock for success. So how to set it up, go in there and do a bit of a clean up and sort it out so you have an easier stock take and ordering process. I will show you how to create a stock take, how to order and also receive your stock once it comes in, how to manage professional stock, so any stock you use within the business, and also what you should and could be reporting with your stock. So we'll start off with going into Shortcuts. So I'll just open Shortcuts up. Okay, so basically we'll start off, so under the stock heading in the navigation bar, we'll start off with going into products because that is the main area that I guess all your stock is kept, and this is the main area you've got to really have a look at and clean up before you can start using stock to its full within Shortcuts. So with these companies that I've got at the moment, we've got the company names. If I open them up by clicking on the plus, we'll be able to see the lines associated with these. And then if we open it up again, we'll be able to see the actual product itself. So if I was to open up Priori, these are the lines, and then these are the products within the line. So a line is like a category or I guess like a category of products. So it could be, the category could be shampoos or it could be a specific range itself. So there's a coffee berry range here. If I open that up, these are all the different coffee berry things that we have. So if I say go to another, scroll down a little, let's have a look at Target Skin Therapy. Within Target Skin Therapy, there are 2 products in that range. Okay, so in Shortcuts, we call that a line. So the line is Target Skin Therapy. Okay, so basically what I wanted to show were the columns to start off with, because this is what will help you clean up your stock. So you can't really go and do stock takes and ordering when your levels aren't accurate and your buy and sell prices aren't accurate and all that kind of thing. You can't sell products using a barcode scanner if your barcodes aren't programmed in here either. So I'll just go and show you how to do all that sort of thing. So up the top of the screen, you'll see columns. So we've got buy, sell, current, required. I'm actually going to remove warning, so I'm going to go to properties there. Oop, sorry, where are we? To levels, and then untick warning. I'm going to keep primary barcode and I'm going to keep active. I also want to bring in another column, and if I right click on the columns themselves, I'll go and I'll bring in properties and retail is what I want. So I want to know whether or not my product is professional or if it's a retail product. Okay, so that's what we're going to work with to start with. Now, what I did want to show you though is that you can remove and bring back columns whenever you want by just right-clicking on one of the other columns. And this is your options here. This is your menu of options. I can look at prices. So at the moment you'll see there's 2 black ticks next to buy and sell price because that means they're the columns that I'm currently seeing. But if I want, I can tick all of these columns so I can actually see every little bit of information. I can see my percentage markup, my average cost, the average sell, all that kind of thing. Okay, and each category has got its own set of things that you can look at. Okay, so the first thing that you really need to sort out and get all cleaned up is to make sure you've got all your buy prices in correctly. When you go to do an order with Shortcuts, it actually works out how much your order is going to cost for you. So if the buy prices aren't there, then that obviously won't be accurate. So to do that, you just simply click on the field and type in a new price. Same goes with sell price. Most people do have their sell price incorrectly. Even if everything else is incorrect, we find that that's probably the one thing that they do tend to fix up first, because obviously you want to be able to sell the products to your clients. So sell price may need to be looked at if you haven't looked at it for a while, just to make sure it's all updated with the current pricing. Now, current levels is what you currently have. So this one's sitting at -1 because we've obviously not done a correct stock take and put correct levels in with this particular site. So it's sitting at -1. If your stock is managed correctly, you should really never have a -1 unless you've sold something to a client that actually isn't even in yet. So they've paid for it and they're waiting for it to come in the next week or so. That's when the only time you'd really go to -1. So if you never really do that, then you should never have any minus ones or twos. Now, required levels, so the current levels we're not going to change, I should say, because your current levels should never be changed in this screen. The only place that your current levels should really be changed is in your stock take screen. So I'll show you how to do a stock take, and that will actually update this screen once you've done a stock take. So the required levels, though, we definitely recommend you pop these in here. So required levels means how many of this particular product do we want to keep within an ordering period. So if I order once a week and I know I use 100 Botox vials, then I want to maybe order 120 just to make sure I've got enough. Okay, if I order on a monthly basis and it's about 100 a week, then my order might be something like 420 or 450 even. Oops. If you want to just make sure you've got enough. Okay, if you order obviously 400 and you use a bit extra one week, then you won't have enough. So we always say to leave a bit of a buffer there based on previous sales. Okay, so required levels, once they're in there, will actually show the current level as red, which means this is what you want and this is what you've got. So you're in the red. You don't have enough to fulfill what you need to do within the business. Okay, if you're sitting at a level where it's green, so I will be sneaky here and maybe just add something in there, even though we're not meant to. If you are sitting at 5 from your current levels and we have a required level of 3, then you'll see the product stays green. The product count stays green. And that means we've got enough to fulfill what we need. So we only need 3 of those. If we've got more than enough, that's fine. So as soon as, say, I drop this level to 2, if we use some, we're below our required level, which means when we place an order, we'll need to include that. And it will do that for you automatically within an order. Okay, so we just have to make sure that we do have enough. So let's just say here I'm going to put some levels in of 5, 6, 7, and 3. And I might just put some current levels in here as well, just to give you a bit of an idea. Okay, and when I go to do an order, I'll use Allergan as an example so we can see how this works to fulfill an order as well. So this is what we definitely recommend you do. Pop in your required levels, and this will save you time when you go to do an order because the computer will know that you need 3, you've only got 2, and it'll know to order you 1 more. Okay, and you won't have to really do anything other than just look at the piece of paper or look at it on the screen and just check and make sure that that's all you want, but it will work it all out for you. Okay, so primary barcode, in here, this is where you would use your barcode scanner, scan the product, and as you scan, what it does is it automatically types the actual barcode in there for you. Okay, you can type it in manually by actually typing in the numbers on the barcode, but it's a lot quicker, obviously, to scan the barcode itself. If you don't have a barcode scanner, don't do anything here, you just leave that blank. But of course, we do recommend using one because it does make your stock much more accurate, does save a lot of time when selling as well. So the reason it makes it more accurate is because sometimes when we go to choose a product, we may accidentally choose the one above or below it. So we could then maybe even lose a few dollars, and then also we will, be thinking that we've sold a product that we haven't, and that will give us a false kind of view as to what's selling and what's not within the business. Okay, so barcode scanners are a lot more accurate. We also have the active column, and if I untick that, what it actually does is it makes that product inactive, which means we won't be able to sell it and it's gone from the business. So we do recommend that you make things inactive if you don't sell them anymore. So if I go into priority, for example, and we know we just never order these posters, we can untick that. We may also not order this X-frame banner, but we do order some brochures, so we may want to keep that one. Okay, so we basically like to keep keep it as clean as possible by making things inactive. So as part of your cleanup after this session, what we recommend is that you take what you've learnt from this session today and go through and do a bit of a cleanup of your own database. So make things inactive, update any details that are missing. If something's marked as retail when it shouldn't be, maybe it's only a professional product, you can go in there and just use the little drop down and mark it to what it's meant to be as well. Okay, a little tip as well when setting up your required levels, I like to use, I'll just squish these columns up a bit so I can see things a bit better, so you can do that too if you need to. What you can actually do is bring in a column called, it's under the calculated area, and I want to see the number of products sold, say last month. Okay, so when I look at this, it shows me how many of a particular product I've sold in the last month. So I've sold one of these, but I've sold none of these in a whole month. So that should help us determine what our level should be. So if what I was saying before was correct, that we sell about 400 of these within a month, that number should reflect that. So it should say 400 or 402, whatever it is, and then you'll be able to set your required level to reflect that figure and make sure you've got enough for the months coming. So I find this very handy. So what I clicked on there was calculated, and I ticked number last month. You can also select number last week as well, or dollars last week and last month, but I don't find that dollars really helps with setting a quantity level. The number is what you need to use. Okay, so that's how you set up your screen and go through and clean it up. If you need to add any new products, you can select a category and click the new icon and then just type in the name. So I'll just put test in there and fill in all the details as we've just discussed. If you need to add an entire new category, so Allergan might have something other than Botox, Juvederm and Zyderm. So we'll click on the actual company name and then click new, and I can add a whole new category. I'll just call it test again. The reason I've got the red dot is that means that we don't have any products within that category. So I'll have to click on new, and I'll call this test 2. And that will actually put a product within that category. So now that the red dot's gone because I do have a product under there, and all I need to do now is actually go and fill in the rest of the details for that product. So that's how we add a new product to the screen as well. Now if you want to add a whole new company, you can do that. So the way to do that is you would click on business and select new, and you can fill in all the details here. Now if you're needing to link this company with a whole new supplier, then you have to add the supplier in first. So if it's not in the drop-down list, what you need to do is change your view from company line down the bottom here and go to supplier and click on business, click new, and I'll say test supplier. And that's all you've got to do there. So just create a supplier. And then when I go in to create a new company, so I'll go back to company line where I was before. So those two screens look very, very similar, but they are different. One is for supplier and one is for company. I can then go into here and say, well, my new company is called ABC, and we get ABC from the test supplier. And you can then go in and fill in any details as well that you like. So if you fill in the details here in the company area, that actually is a great thing to do because you keep all the details there, but I would recommend going back to supplier and actually filling in all the details by clicking on details. I can fill the details of the supplier in rather than of the company. Now the reason that we do that is because this information actually goes on to the order, whereas the information on the other screen does not. So if you want your order to be automatically emailed, make sure your email address is down here under supplier details and not under rep details. Okay, so this information is just for your information, whereas the stuff here under supplier details actually goes on to the order that you're placing. Okay, so I'll go back to company line. So now I've got this company called ABC. It's linked to a supplier, and I can go ahead and add some lines to that. So the new line will be, say, shampoo. and I may have another line called conditioner, etc. So then within that line of shampoo, I may have lots of different sorts of products and shampoos. So I'll name them and fill in all the details for those too. Okay, so that's how the structure of setting up a whole new company is laid out. So down the bottom here, if you've made things inactive, like what I was showing you before, you can go and say show me inactive, and that will bring up any products that you used to stock. So we can see very faintly here that Dermalogica and Thalgo are sitting here. That basically means we used to stock them and maybe we don't stock them anymore, we have some different products in. If we decide we want to stock them again, it's as simple as just ticking them again, and we can go through there and decide what we're going to have and what we're not. Okay, so we can open up that particular company and go through it in more detail. I'll untick that for now. Okay, so I can untick show me inactive, and then they'll disappear. When I'm working on my screen, I can also show just my retail or just my professional. So if you're just wanting to focus on one area to do a cleanup bit at a time, or just to look at certain products, you can do that. So I want to get rid of all my retail and see just professional. Okay, so here we can see that it's just professional for Allergan. In Youngblood, it says retail, but what that basically means is that Youngblood is a retail product, but the products that we're looking at are just professional. Okay, whereas Allergan obviously don't have any retail product at all. So if I open up Priori, it's the same thing. Okay, so even though it says retail here, that just means it is also a retail company, but when we delve deep further into that, we'll see that it's only professional products we see on the screen. If I need to delete something, I can try and delete a company or a product, but it will only allow you to do that if you've never sold anything from that company, or if you haven't sold that product. If you have, it'll actually just make it inactive, and it'll ask you to make it inactive. So it says, do you want to delete this company? I'll say yes. It says it cannot be deleted because it's been used for sale or a special or promotion. So if that was the case, then I can go in there and make things inactive instead. Okay, so these are basically all the different things that you can do within the product screen. So I'd recommend you go in there and just do a bit of a cleanup just to make sure that everything is set up correctly for you. Okay, so the next thing I want to go through is doing a stock take. So doing a stock take will update that current column within that page. So if we go to stock take, and let's do one for Allergan since we've been having a bit of a play with that one. So I'm going to do an Allergan stock take, and I'll say who's responsible for that. So I'll pretend to be Kate. So Kate is doing this particular stock take. It says it's pending because we haven't actually started it yet, so we'll hit next. And now what we need to do is we need to add onto the screen what we'd like to count. So I'm going to select the entire Allergan company. Now if you don't want to do that, you can actually go in and select just certain ranges. So you might say I'm only going to count, say, Juvederm. So I'll just select that one, and that'll just bring the Juvederm up onto the screen there. Okay, so you can do it that way, or you can go and say I want the whole company and add. It says these products are already in the list, and that basically means, you know, we've already added some of those which we had just done. So we'll hit done. Okay, so these are all the products within the Allergan range. So once we've done that, we need to hit start to begin the stock take. It says, do you want to activate this stock take? And I'll say yes. And it'll ask me if I'd like to print out some of these forms. So what I'm going to print out will be just my stock take form. So the reason I don't print the other two is because they're pretty much just blank sheets of paper with a heading with room for you to write any amendments or changes to products. But this first sheet here, the stock take form, that actually has plenty of room. So I kind of feel like we don't always really need those extra bits of paper. So we'll hit done, and that'll print the stock take form out. Now, because you can't actually see my printout, I will just skip back to the actual PowerPoint and have that up on the screen. So this is kind of what it looks like. So, well, it's exactly what it looks like. It is the stock take form. when you do yours, it will obviously not have my nice handwriting here, but this is what you've got to do. You've got to go through, so you get this blank sort of columns here, and where it says actual count, you walk around the business and you count every single item and you pop the amount in this column. Okay. So I'll just zoom up on that. So you just pop your count in there. So I'll scoot back to shortcuts. So we'll then have to transfer that count into this column here. So say for example I found I had 4 of these, 6 of those, etc. Now you'll see how the items are coming up in red, and that basically means that the actual items are incorrect. So it's saying that, well, the computer thought you had -1. You're saying we've got 4. Is that right? So it's making you just double check to see if we're counting correctly. If they come up in white, that means we thought we had 2 and we do have 2. That means it's all good. We've counted correctly. Now, if you haven't managed your stock for a long time, you're pretty much going to have everything come up in red, and that basically means that what the computer thinks you've got versus what you've actually got on the shelf is different. So that is right. So don't worry about that. That will come up in red for the very first time you do a stock take. But every stock take after that, if you are managing or you feel like you're managing your stock correctly, you shouldn't really get anything in red unless something has been misplaced, stolen, or, perhaps just not checked out properly. So that's a great way for you to detect when things are going wrong within the business if they do come up in red. Okay, so we put all our count in there and then we just hit finish. Do we want to complete this stock take? We'll say yes, we do. So the second little screen here says there are product counts that are different to the recorded values or that have been sold during the stock take. It's recommended you recount these items. So normally you would say, yes, I want to perform a recount if you've been doing stock takes for a while and something's gone wrong and you've got red numbers coming up. But if it's the very first time you're ever doing it and you know that they're all going to be wrong, you say, no, I don't want to perform a recount. I know I haven't been managing my stock correctly, and that's why they're all coming up different. Okay, so my screen will then say, congratulations, you've successfully completed a stock take, and your product levels will be updated according to the count. So I hit done and hit done again. And if we go into products and have a look at Allergan, we now, where we had -1, we now have 4. Okay, so that's updated all the counts in here to reflect what we've popped in the stock take. We still don't have enough to fulfill what we require, but we did get an order in. We obviously just didn't order enough. Okay. So I'll show you how to order enough, and that will come up in a moment. I just want to explain though that if you do want to do a stock take, so I'll hop back into the stock take, and you want to do it in a more automated type of way, what you can actually do, I'll just say, was it True Solutions? Is that one of my other ones, I think? True Solutions, and we'll say Kate. When you add the products in, if I add this entire company in and hit done, what you can actually do is hit start and say yes to activate it and say no, I don't want to print anything off at all. And if you have a stock take device, what you can actually do, so it's different to a barcode scanner. A stock take device is a little handheld device. It looks a bit like a mobile phone. You can actually take that and scan the barcodes and then type in how many you've got of each. So scan, then type, walk around the entire business and do that. And that will actually keep it a lot more accurate for you too, because you're not relying on someone writing something down and then also entering it correctly into the computer. It actually knows exactly what you're scanning, and it's just relying on you to press a button each time. So I find that it's a lot more accurate, and if you do have a lot of stock and want to streamline and simplify your processes, doing it that way would be much better. Then what you basically do is you hit the import button here, and what it does is it imports a whole bunch of counts from your device. So without you having to type anything, it basically imports, just like, well, I'm typing them here, but it basically imports all your numbers into there. for you, and you don't have to type anything. So if you've got, hundreds of bits and pieces of stock, where I know a lot of different businesses, especially if you've got makeup and lots of different hair products, they're quite fiddly and lots to count. It can make it a lot more simple for you. And then all you need to do is hit finish, and yes to update the levels, and no, we don't want to count again. Okay, so there's two different ways of doing it. Now, I do think I've got an image of that up here. So this is what I'm talking about. So this device here is a stock take scanner on the left, and basically with that one you scan a product and then type in a number, then you plug it into your computer and it feeds the file that you need to the computer for you. So you can then, not have to do all that typing and entering. Now, these are the two different types of barcode scanner as well. So you can have it just on its own, or you can have it in an actual stand as well, if you don't have one of these already. Okay, so that is doing our stock take. So I'll just click done on that. The next thing I want to go into is our ordering screen. So we'll click on that. Now, actually, I didn't mention with the stock takes the frequency of those. So what we recommend is that you do a stock take at least once a week. So when I say once a week, it doesn't mean you have to count everything once a week, but if you can count a little bit of your stock each week, then that way you don't have to spend a whole day or half a day doing it once a month. You can spend like 20 minutes once a week doing it, and depending on the amount of product that you have, and then that way you can actually really keep on top of it and see if something's gone wrong with the particular product range. So in essence, you're really only counting each range once a month, but if you spread it out over the month, then you don't have to do such a big one each time. So that's a good reception type job to do. Okay, so basically with the ordering and receiving, so in this screen here, if you have got your products all set up correctly, and that's the reason I showed you setting up the products first, because that's the order that you should tackle your stock. You should set your products up correctly first, and then you'll be able to do stuff like this. So if I want to do a Allergan order, what I can do is then hit New, and you'll see it automatically generates an order for me. It knows I need 446 of these because I didn't have enough because I was in the red. It knows I need 4 of these, and it knows I need 5 of these. So really you can pretty much rely on shortcuts to calculate your order for you every single month if you have your levels in correctly. Now, it obviously comes up on the screen so you can double check it before you send it off anywhere, but all you need to do then is add or delete anything that you don't want. So you might say, okay, well, I know we need 5 of those, but we're actually not going to be doing any of those services for the next month or whatever reason, so we can just delete that if we want to cut some costs in any areas. So I can just hit delete, and then it'll just come up next month for our next order. If I want to add, I can hit add and add more things to that. So I can hit volumer. So volumer didn't come up originally because we probably have enough of that, but we might say, well, we've got a special promotion with that this month, so we want to order a few more of those instead. So you can just make adjustments like that. Okay, so down the bottom here you can add a client's name as well. So I want to add Pauline's name by clicking on the client box, and I might say a particular product is for her. So volumer for Pauline, and that will remind me to call her and let her know her product is in. Okay, down the bottom here we also have our order button, our receive button. So what we want to do is we want to perhaps save our order as well. So if I click on save, it says the order's been saved. To order, please press the order button. So I hit done, and it saves the order, and all that does is it allows me to go off and do something else if I'm halfway through doing my order and I don't have a chance to finish it. That often happens. You're standing there and your client walks in and you're halfway through doing the order. So if I want to go back into it later, I just go back to ordering, and right under saved, here it is, and I can hit edit and continue working with that order. So if I'm happy with that, I can hit the order button down the bottom. It says, do you wish to proceed with this order? And I can hit yes. And if I want to print it, I can hit OK, or if not, I can hit cancel. Either way, the order has been placed in the system. So if you've printed it, you can hand it or fax it to the actual rep that comes in, or you can ring it over the phone if you don't want to print it. And then we can just hit done. Now you can also set your ordering up to email automatically, so I'll show you that in a moment too. I first want to show you how to receive an order though. So if we go back into ordering, we'll pretend it's the day later and our orders come in, and under outstanding, here it is. So I have to select it and then hit receive. What that does is it brings it back up on the screen and it allows me to double check my quantities. So if 446 is right, that's what they've sent me, that's good. I can check that, that's all good, and then I can just hit receive. It says, are you sure you want to proceed with receiving this invoice? And I hit yes. It says you have not entered an invoice number in for this order. Would you like to enter one? I'll say yes, I do. So I'll pop one in and then I'll just hit receive again. Yes, I do want to receive that. And it says the order has been received successfully. And what that means is that my quantities have now been updated to reflect that. So if I go into Allergan now, we should see our quantities are correct. Okay, so if we want to go and add an email address into a supplier, for example, we'll go back into Allergan and go to Supplier, and we'll hit Details, and I'll just pop my email address in here. Oops. So in here is where you would put the supplier's email address normally. Okay, so now when I go next time to do my Allergan order, I'll again select my supplier and hit new. Now that product that we deleted last time should pop up, and there we go, there it is. Okay, so if that's all we need for the next month's order, we hit order. Do we want to proceed with this? I say yes. Now it says Allergan has an email address recorded. Do you want to email the order? If I say yes, that'll obviously just send them the email. If I say no, it will go to the print screen. So I'll say yes, I want to email it. Okay, I'll just have to open up my email for it to go through and allow that, and then it just basically sends that email through. And then the order has been placed. Okay, so that's basically gone, and now it's sitting there in outstanding waiting for us to receive it. Now, the last thing that I wanted to show you with the actual receiving and also the ordering is that you can make some adjustments to prices and quantities as well. So if I go to receive an order, if I ordered 5 but only, say, 3 came in, I can go and change it there. And it says to me here, you ordered 5 and are receiving 3. Would you like to put 2 on back order? So if your company does do back order, you can say yes. If not, you hit no, and you'll just make sure you order it next time. So if I want to receive the rest of that, I can also change my buy price as well if I want to. So the order price may have changed, so I can update that. And then I can also add a freight cost, so they may have charged me $20 for freight for that. Okay, so I've added that there. So I've got my $20. So this total order value, so 1736, should match up with what's on your supplier's invoice to you. Then again, I can put my invoice number, and this is great if you ever want to go back and cross-check things and see what actual invoice number you received and if something was entered correctly or not. Then you can go and hit receive, and yes, we want to proceed, and now it's been received successfully, so I can hit done. And under here in Allergan, we still have this outstanding because we put some stuff on back order. So if you ever put something on back order, it'll stay here waiting for you to receive that portion of that order again. So if I hit receive, you'll notice that those 2 are sitting there. So I put 2 on back order. So when we're ready, we can receive those when they come in. Okay, so that's how to receive and put things on back order. So that should cover every different sort of scenario when it comes to receiving your stock in Shortcuts. So the last thing that I wanted to show you in terms of managing your stock is the professional stock usage. So if we go into your point of sale screen, what we recommend is that whenever you manage your stock through Shortcuts, so if you do all the stuff that I've just shown you and you sell all your products through Shortcuts, the last piece of the puzzle is to make sure that any products that are not sold to clients are managed correctly too. Because if you place a big order and half of that stock is professional and you're not actually telling the computer when something is finished, so we use a bottle out the back and we throw it in the bin, no one ever knows, you know, if we need any more or where that's gone. So basically what we need to do is create a bin that we keep out the back, so a professional stock usage bin. So we keep that out the back, and what we do with that is we actually, every time we finish a bottle, we pop that in that special bin, and at the end of every day, or even at the end of every week, depending on how you would like to work your procedures and how much stock you go through, you actually bring that bin up to the counter. What you do is you make sure, so if you're familiar with selling retail products, it's very similar. You just select from clients, hit delete, and make sure you select business, and then hit done. So we make sure business is up here in our client selection area. And then all you do is you scan your products using your barcode scanner. So just pull everything out of that bin and scan the products. Okay, so I need to do a start of day. Let me just quickly do that. Sorry guys, I'll just hit done on that. Okay, so I had start of day activated on my system, which means you can't put any transactions through until you've performed a start of day and checked your float. So skipping by that, we've selected business. We scan our products, or if you don't have a barcode scanner, you can select them manually. So I can go through here and say we've used one of these today and one of those. We normally wouldn't really use retail products, but we go through and find our professional products and use those. Sometimes you might pull something off the shelf. So say for example here, we may have run out of our professional size moisturiser and we're desperate to use it in a facial, so we may pull one off the shelf and use it for professional use. What it does is it zeroes out all the products because it knows we're not actually selling them. It knows that we're just using them in the business. And all you have to do is hit end sale. And what that does is it reduces all the quantities of those particular products in your stock screen to what they should be based on the quantities you've just removed. Okay, so that should manage your professional stock for you. And then if I want to go and check that out, I can go into Tools and Reports. And under stock, there is a professional stock usage report. So if I view that, normally it's good to view this as often as you order. So if you order once a month or once every 2 weeks, come in here and check it out because it gives you a bit of an insight as to what's happening in the business. So if I come in here and I see that for the last week we've used $1,000 worth of product, but I know that we really haven't been doing any services that need these particular products, then I have to maybe think about, you know, maybe what's happened to these products. What are we doing wrong in our business? Why are we not effectively using our product? So this basically gives you a total up the top. So we've used 19 products and it's cost us $1,051 roughly. So we can use that then to monitor and track how we're using our products. So we hit done. So that was called the Professional Stock Usage Report. A couple of the other reports that I would recommend too is, say for example, your product sales summary. So if I view this particular one as well, I'm just leaving it on today, but you can actually go and look for the week or for the fortnight or for the month or quarter. So you can go through and select what sort of period you want, or you can even say for last week, last month. So I'll just stick to the current day. You can also use this range button and select your own dates. So you can really sort of tailor the report to suit whatever sort of range that you need. So I'll click View. So here it's showing me that all I've sold for this day is a True Solutions product and how much I've received. So this one gives you a good overview as to what you've sold in the business. Another one that's really good is the company sales performance. So this gives you a bit of an overview for each company. So I've obviously only sold one thing, so only True Solutions has come up in the blue here, but obviously if I had sold some Allergan or Youngblood as well, that would be included here too. And with most of the actual reports too, wherever you see a little magnifying glass, and if you click on that, you can actually delve deep further into that and see exactly what product it was or a bit more information about that report. So I would go in here and have a bit of a play with all the different types of stock reports to see what sort of things that you like. The other one that I find is quite popular is the top selling products, and this gives you a bit of an overview as to what sells best. So I can have a look at that for the year and view that, and this gives me a bit of a summary and shows me, well, the all-day moisturiser is what's made us the most money. It's given us the most profit. We've sold 18 of those, and this is what's done best for us. So we obviously like this product and sell that one the most. If we scroll down, it sort of tapers down as to with all your different products there. Okay, so you can use this information for marketing purposes too and see what's selling and what's not, and if you need to push things or give more training to your staff about certain products that you think should be selling more. Okay, so we'll hit done on that and done again. Okay, so guys, I just wanted to summarise here. So what we've gone over today is setting up your stock for success, creating a stock take, placing orders and receiving them as well, managing professional stock using a professional stock bin, and accessing stock reports. So hopefully that's given you a bit more information, and now you're able to go off and clean up your stock. From my experience, depending on the amount of stock that you have, it could take you anywhere up to half a day to a day or even 2 days if you've got shelves and shelves of stock. But yeah, to basically spread out that bit of a clean-up, get it done. A lot of people, what they do is they come in on a Sunday or something like that and just spend the day and clean it all up while the business is closed. And then you can basically run as of the Monday with perfect stock. So that's an ideal sort of scenario. So if you can try and get that done, clean up the stock, start doing all your ordering and managing it through shortcuts, you'll find the only part that takes a little bit of time is that initial cleanup. So if you're willing to put in a few hours to do the cleanup, so that half a day to a day, whatever it may be, you'll find that managing your stock forevermore will be so much more simple. So if you can pop that bit of effort in, you'll find you'll reap the rewards of that definitely. Okay, so the contact information up on the screen is available for you if you want to ask any further questions, or if you want to post any questions to our Facebook page as well, or up on our website. You can find some more information there as well. So please use those bits of information up on the screen right now, because we'd love to hear from you. Thanks for taking the time to hear about all the great stock features we've got. This was Stock Basics 101, so we will be developing more webinars in the future with more advanced things as well. So we look forward to hearing from you soon. Thank you.